Good evening and welcome to your town hall. Having reached the hour of 6:30, I hereby call to order the meeting of the Sahuarita Town Council. And just as a reminder, we are being taped and broadcast to the world. A smaller world than it might be. Our world. Tonight's invocation will be given by Father Juan Carlos Aguirre from San Martin de Porres Roman Catholic Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from Austin Hammer, second grade Bulldog from Copperview Elementary School. Father?
Let us pray. Blessed are you, Lord God of all creation, whose goodness fills our hearts with joy. Blessed are you who have brought us together this day to work for harmony and peace. Strengthen us with your grace and wisdom. Lord, may everything we do begin with your inspiration and continue with your help, so that all our prayers and works may begin in you and by you be happily ended. We pray for town council members and our mayor, that the light of your divine wisdom direct their thoughts and our dialogue today. May they seek to preserve peace, promote the common good, and continue to bring us the blessings of liberty and equality. We likewise commend to your unbounded mercy all those here present today. May we be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your law. May we be preserved in union and that peace which the world cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, be admitted to those which are eternal. Amen.
Thank you.
Audience, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good job. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll?
Councilmember Baca. Here. Councilmember Eckert. Here. Councilmember Lusk.
Here.
Councilmember Skelton.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmerman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hicks.
Here.
Mayor Murphy.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Our first order of business this evening is discussion and possible selection of the mayor for the town of Sahuarita. Since we have one new member, and it's been 2 years since we've done this before, and at that time it was our first time doing it, I asked Mr. Hockley if he would just give a brief overview on how the selection process for mayor and vice mayor will work. Mr. Hockley.
Mr. Mayor, your lawyer doesn't have much of a voice.
It's a great thing.
Mayor, I also was prepared to talk about the duties of the mayor and the vice mayor, if you'd like me to go with that as well.
Sure. I mean, it's not too much on your voice, though.
I'm fine.
Okay.
This is what an asthmatic with a cold sounds like. That's what I have. Okay, the powers of the mayor, these are set forth. There's a few things in state statutes, but most of it's in the town code. Am I getting picked up by everyone?
Yeah, go a little bit closer.
Okay, I'll go a little closer.
There you go.
By statute, the mayor is the chief executive officer of the town. And the language this was language that was put together when we did the amendments a couple of years ago. And the mayor provides advice to the town manager regarding implementation of the policies of the council. The mayor's duties at council meetings is to be a parliamentarian. We don't follow Robert's Rules of Order. We don't want to follow Robert's Rules of Order. They're very complicated. So the mayor sets up the procedure we use. As the clerk knows, different mayors have followed different procedures when we have an amendment to a motion on the floor. It's up to the mayor. The mayor decides how to do that. The mayor also preserves order and decorum, and he decides disagreements with people that are out of order. And the mayor is the only one of you that can eject somebody from the meeting with your lawyer's advice. Rarely happens. But whatever decisions the mayor makes regarding how the meeting is run or disciplined can be overcome by a vote of the council. So if the mayor says, I want so-and-so removed, even though it's not on the agenda, you're allowed to then vote on whether you want to overturn the veto, if you will, of the mayor's decision. The mayor makes motions and seconds as a regular member of the council. There's no limitation. This is a little bit different, but it's a reminder. It's a little bit off, but in the event somebody in the audience wishes to address the council on an issue that's on the agenda, it's up to the mayor whether he allows that person to talk. I don't think since 1994, when you formed, that we've ever denied that, but you do have the right. Meet and put together an agenda. It's the mayor's agenda. The mayor has final say, and when it's prepared by the clerk, according to the town code, she sends it to the mayor for approval. That's happening. That's what the town code says. The agenda will include any item timely requested by a member of the council. That's the procedure that we've had in place here for a long time. That was changed actually in our early days. It originally was 3 council members. Powers of the vice mayor. Oddly enough, the code does not say that the vice mayor runs the meeting when the mayor's not here. I think that goes without saying. In the event the mayor is absent from the town for more than 15 consecutive days, or in the event of the disability of the mayor to the extent that he or she is temporarily unable to serve, the vice mayor shall assume the duties of the mayor until the mayor is again able to serve. So that's what the mayor does. Under our form of government, which is mandated by state law, the mayor is, other than the things I just talked about, the mayor is a councilman.
I'll get 2 votes.
And all that you can buy, man. I was kidding. So that's pretty much what the mayor does. There's a recognized honorary role, the ribbon cuttings and the what do you call it, shovel groundbreakings and that sort of stuff. Burials. Burials. So the selection of the mayor, we do it a little differently here. This is a process that former Mayor Bloomberg and I spent a lot of time putting together and having the council give us input. And the way it usually works is there's just a motion to appoint so-and-so mayor. And what that turned into is whoever the mayor gave the floor to first was the presumptive winner, and that didn't seem fair. So the way we do it now, each council member can nominate up to 1 person to serve as mayor, to serve as a candidate for mayor. Then that person is asked whether he or she is willing to serve. If they say yes, then Councilman Zimmerman makes her selection, and then it goes to Councilmember Skelton, and she can nominate someone. And if that person accepts, and we go down, we end up with a slate of candidates. Then the clerk takes roll, and it's called the slate of candidates. That by roll call vote, each council member votes for 1 person from the slate. The candidate who receives the affirmative vote of at least 4 council members shall be designated as the mayor. Now that we really struggle with this, what if somebody doesn't do it? And we thought 4 votes was important because even if it's 3, 2, and 2, we felt like somebody shouldn't be mayor when they didn't even get a majority vote. So that's how we came up with 4. So this is very creative. If it doesn't work, we do it again from the beginning. And something tells me politics will intervene and we'll get through it. So that's the process. And then after the mayor is selected, or if you can't come to a decision, you can pump it to the next council meeting. So if after the mayor is selected, or after it's bumped, continue to another meeting, then the same process for the rest.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Nomination for mayor.
No nomination.
Vice Mayor Hicks, do you have a nomination for mayor?
No nomination.
Councilmember Lusk, do you have a nomination for mayor?
No nomination.
Mayor Murphy, do you have a nomination for mayor?
No nomination.
Councilmember Egbert, do you have a nomination for mayor?
No nomination.
Councilmember Skelton, do you have a nomination for mayor?
No nomination.
The slate of candidates for mayor is Tom Murphy.
Okay. Madam Clerk, will you move on to the roll call for the vote for selection of mayor?
Just a reminder, when I ask for your roll call vote, if you could state the individual's name. Thank you. Councilmember Lusk.
I vote aye for Thomas Murphy. Thomas, Sir Thomas Murphy.
Thank you.
Lord Thomas.
Okay, we are not voting on board.
Councilmember Skelton.
Yes, to the nomination of Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Yes to Tom Murphy.
Mayor Murphy.
Yes to Tom Murphy.
Vice Mayor Hicks.
Yes to Tom Murphy.
Councilmember Egbert.
Tom Murphy.
Councilmember Bracco.
Murphy.
Councilmember Zimmerman.
At this point, do I just say his initials? Yes to Tom Murphy.
Mayor, there are 7 votes for Tom Murphy.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tom, when were you going to set up that dinner for us? I'm trying to remember now.
When my serfs come. Next, we'll move to number 6, discussion possible selection of the vice mayor of the town of Sahuarita. Next is the possible selection of vice mayor, Madam Clerk. And I think, well, go ahead and read it.
So item 6 is discussion and possible selection of vice mayor of the town of Sahuarita. And we will have a random roll call vote for nominations for vice mayor. Councilmember Zimmerman, do you have a nomination?
I'm going to nominate Bill Bracco.
Mr. Bracco, are you willing to accept the nomination and serve?
Yes.
Councilmember Lusk, do you have a nomination for vice mayor?
Was that Lusk?
Lusk.
I'm sorry. No nomination.
Mayor Murphy.
No nomination?
Councilmember Egbert.
No nomination.
Councilmember Skelton.
I nominate Kara Egbert, and I would like to state a few words, if I may. Kara has served this community almost as long as I have in many capacities. She continues to serve this community in areas outside of this town council. She is an asset. I know at times she states her mind, which I think the public respects and appreciates. And some council members may not, but I think at this point in time, she deserves an opportunity to have an active role other than council members because of her service to our community and to our region as well as our state.
Councilmember Egbert, are you willing to accept the nomination and serve as vice mayor?
Yes, I accept.
Councilmember Bracco, do you have a nomination?
No nomination.
Vice Mayor Hicks, do you have a nomination?
No nomination.
So the slate of candidates for vice mayor are Bill Bracco and Kara Egbert.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, we'll now move to the roll call for the selection of vice mayor.
And please state the name of your selected candidate, please.
Just the name? Is that what you?
Just the name.
Okay.
All right. Mayor Murphy.
Councilmember Bracco.
Councilmember Skelton.
Kara Egbert.
Vice Mayor Hicks.
Councilmember Egbert.
Yes. I have to think for a few minutes here. The problem is that both of them will do an excellent job for the town, and that does create a scenario. The other scenario is that I sit between them.
thank you. Well, I'll do it on the town council report, thank you, the present vice mayor. Item number 6 is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved for this evening. Item number 8 is call to the public. Well, I do invite, even though I don't have any cards, I do invite members to come forward if they'd like, so I will read the statement. At this time, any member of the public is invited to address the town council on any issue on tonight's consent agenda or on any issue which the town council can lawfully act upon at a future meeting. Pursuant to the Arizona open meeting laws, the council may not discuss the items, but individual members of the council may respond to criticism made by those who address the council, may ask staff to review the matter, or may ask the matter be placed on a future agenda. Madam Clerk, I don't see any cards, I haven't given any. Would anybody like to address the council during the call to the public?
Commencing December 11th, 2018, and terminating July 31st, 2019, in an amount not to exceed $57,014.82.
Thank you. Ms. Dillard and company?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We're happy to come to you this evening and discuss the intersection that we will be adding to our inventory of intersections within the town of Sahuarita. This particular project is, am I on? Yes, okay. This particular project is one of our capital improvement projects, and it was an agreement as part of an annexation with La Posada, and it is located at East Continental Road, South Park Center Avenue, and White House Canyon Road. And we are looking forward to moving this project forward. Beth will be our project manager for this. And what I'd like to do is just give you a basic overview of the location that we're going to be putting in this project. Per the language in the annexation, this includes the turn lanes, the traffic signals with the left turn signals. It regulates the timing, and they're going to be taking care of traffic counts and doing everything to make sure we're updating this to our latest standards and accommodating what's going on in the area right now. This particular contract will include the design of this intersection and all of the work that it takes to evaluate the appropriate timing and everything that will go into this intersection. In addition to that, we have some funding for arterials and collectors that we were going to put on Pima Mine Road, but JPAR and FICO are going to be coming in with the cap lines on Pima Mine Road. And one of the requests from the La Posada community was to address some of the roadway in front of their community, since it's now in the town of Sahuarita and no longer in Pima County. And so this particular project will include some design of that, the striping, and what we would need to do to improve some of the pavement in the area. And we will do that particular funding here now, and next year we'll do the Pima Mine Road when we're done with the construction that's coming up. So this, the amount of the pavement that we'll be able to do and the full extents will depend on the amount of funding available in this project when we reach the conclusion, and then some of the businesses in the area. So if you take a look at this, those are the people we'll be reaching out to for this particular project, and we will be inviting them to the meetings that we will be having for this. Now, we had the opportunity at the end of June to visit with the La Posada staff, and we were actually able to collect a lot of information about what the La Posada staff was interested in and some of their concerns they had. And so what I'd like to do is just give you a little blow-up of the intersection here so that this will help make some sense. One of the things they've expressed concern about is that the FICO vehicles often use the intersection at random locations, and they have concerns for their pedestrians in the multi-use path. You might be able to see the multi-use path there, and they have the crosswalk that's connecting it over there. They are concerned about making sure that the traffic signal can handle some of the traffic during the school drop-off and pickup times, and that is definitely something that we'll be looking at, although sometimes the school traffic can be momentary. I think we did a study at Walden Grove, and it was a 12-minute issue, so sometimes it's kind of hard to time a signal for that, but we certainly can see what we can do to help improve some of the issues. They're also asking for smart signals. Now, usually you'll want a smart signal when you have a lot of intersections along the same roadway so that you can time them together. In this instance, that's not the current situation, but we are doing, anytime we're putting in a new signal or we're upgrading our signals, we are trying to put in the cameras instead of the loops and the asphalt and the latest technology to allow us to advance as a town as the technology comes up and is provided. And that is part of our traffic and streets programs that we're working on this year. So we should be able to accommodate them with what they need for now and for the near future. They say they have some issues with their northernmost driveway, which you can't see in this one, and I'm not sure if you can see in that one. And a lot of that is because the school traffic is backing up, so they're cutting through their little development in order to get around. And so we're hoping with the traffic signal timing that we will be able to prevent some of that. And they don't want to lose their crosswalk. As a matter of fact, they'd like to have additional crosswalks in the area. And they want to make sure that the Quail Creek and Madera Highlands traffic doesn't present problems for bicycles and pedestrians. So we will be considering multimodal as much as we can in the area. Again, this is a pretty standard traffic signal, and so we'll do what we can to accommodate as much as we can. Let's see. They wanted the roadway maintained in front of their community, which is what we're doing with our shift from FEMA line, our road to this particular location for this year. They had some issues with their median as you go into their development right up near Old Nogales Highway. I believe there's a stop sign there and it keeps getting run over. So we probably need to evaluate what's going on there to see if it's within the right-of-way. We can certainly try to do something and try to address it, and hopefully, if it's not, our signal improvements will take care of whatever that concern is. They would like better right turns out of their area. They were interested in green asphalt, if that was a possibility for them. Anything that might provide sound mitigation, and one of the things we say for sure is new pavement and treated preserved pavement does provide sound mitigation in and of itself. And let's see, left turns out of the area are important. They are heavily used, and they have a farmer's market every Monday, and a lot of cars park along the shoulder for the event. So I don't know if we'll be able to fix those issues on the shoulder right now, but we certainly can try to make things move through the area as quickly as we can. And we are planning a lot of public outreach, and given that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Beth to talk to you a little bit about the project schedule.
So hopefully tonight you will approve the award of the contract, which means we will issue a notice to proceed to the chosen candidate, which was Kittle. Sometime in early January, hopefully first 2 weeks of January, we will have the first open house with La Posada. By the end of January, we plan on having the 60% plans complete, which means that February 1st, the town will order the signal components. This is actually very important because a lot of these components have very long lead times. A traffic signal component typically has an average of 120-day lead time. So in order to get this built, we need that plan completed to a point where we're comfortable with what we're purchasing. Same thing for the signal poles and mast arms. And we're hoping that with the tariffs, that's not going to create an additional problem for us with lead times. So that's why we want to get those done as soon as possible. We will hopefully have our second open house with La Posada in mid-February. That'll be about 75% complete, with the project being done by mid to the end of March so that we can advertise for bids in early April. Right now we're saying April 4th. So we would receive bids April 21st and come to Mayor and Council May 13th for the approval.
Beth, just to be clear, when you say the project complete, you mean the design of the project?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, the design would be complete. So we would issue a notice to proceed to our contractor May 14th. May 30th is the last day of school in that area, so we would have construction start June 3rd so that we wouldn't interfere with any of the graduation, end of year ceremonies that typically go on. And then we anticipate that the signal would be operational by July 26th. And that includes all the install, all the cutting of conduit. You've probably seen a lot of times when they put in new signals that they have to go on flash or be bagged for a certain amount of time. Those are mandated times for people to get accustomed to seeing a signal there. So, you know, that includes all that timing. It does not include if we have any significant delays for monsoons, or like I said, if we have any issues with getting materials due to increases in tariffs or lead times, anything along those lines. The end of July, we would begin paving operations in that area. We're hoping to pave at least the entire frontage of La Posada. And the entire project would be complete, including all the thermoplastic striping, by the end of September.
So not before school starts?
Unfortunately, we can't complete it before school starts because you have to wait 30 days for the asphalt to cure before you can do the final thermoplastic striping.
That's okay.
So,
Thank you. You answered a lot of the questions, because I was going to get into the construction phase, because this dealt with the design phase.
Mr.
So,
Mayor?
yes.
I just wonder, where's the circle?
No.
It's a joke.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you, MJ. I've been on the La Posada campus several times in the last 6 months, and this is always the number one question that I receive from the residents. I appreciate your timeliness on this. It's exciting to be able to say July 26th with the potential for it to be ready to go. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for considering the Continental School District and the parents and the kids coming through there. So looking forward to this, and I think it's doing a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Turn that way.
Be sure that I make that meeting at La Posada because of my interests in Madera Highlands and Quail Creek, please. And for other reasons down the road. The other thing I'd point out, you see that the gravel area to the left of the road, up where La Posada is, where those trees are?
Yeah.
When you're working on that on the north entrance, in the morning when schools crowd up in there, and at other times, traffic does occasionally use that shoulder for a highway.
Oh.
Yes, so when you're doing that north thing, you might want to consider something that will kind of narrow that down. They basically are using it right now to get around the long line, but there are other times when I see vehicles driving down that like a shoulder. So, just for your information.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, so if it's not going to be completed until September, how much of a traffic impedance is it going to be for when school does start? I'm assuming, I guess my question, so pavement will be done and cured, and I'm assuming all lanes will be open. What won't be done at that point?
well, they'll be doing assuming school starts, it's probably about the 5th, 6th, I don't know the exact date off the top of my head.
Right.
That they will be doing paving operations when school starts. So they will probably have one lane closed, but we'll still probably be able to maintain traffic. We have 2 lanes of traffic. So you'll have a lot of the hazard markers and things like that. So that
And the signal will be operational?
The signal will be operational.
It will?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess that'll help.
Right. And then, potentially, those windows are very small, especially the morning window when there's an impact. And obviously, you only can do what you can do working with contractors, but, maybe they, if they plan on being there, making it up, if they plan on starting at 8 in the morning and everybody's through there by 8:20, maybe they could start at 8:30 in the morning. So just, if we could just coordinate and just ask the question. I know it always can't be done, but I know those windows are very tight on when the traffic gets through there, and it's pretty early.
As part of the signal evaluation, we would be looking at when those peak times are.
Right.
And we're going to use that to inform the construction
Right.
documents.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
That's
just one
okay.
last thing. Also, if we can make sure that we communicate with the Continental School District, just to let them know, because they send out newsletters and updates to their students and parents. And I know that they have a lot of parent drop-off at that school. So just to let them know, to give them a few extra minutes for that first month of school.
And I know you've probably thought about it, but they have a pretty active blogging site as well,
Right.
residents of Madera Highlands. So, I'm sure we will be using multiple avenues to communicate our website and other types of things, to do that.
Do you have a name of a particular contact that we could work with? We can always just call the school and ask around, but if we had someone that you knew was more engaged.
Yeah,
with outreach,
Roxana Rico is the superintendent,
Okay,
and I can certainly get you that contact information.
great, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor?
you. Yes.
And I assume that the most that we can talk about in terms of road closures is no road closure, but one lane closure during the entire construction. Has any thought been given to that road that is behind the commercial businesses there? I know traffic uses that road to get to the school at times when the line gets too long, as a possible diversion if it were ever proven necessary.
I'm not sure if it's fully open. I know we drove back there a while ago, and it was pretty rough. I do know cars will use that as a detour. I'm not sure if it's private property or not. If it's not private property, we might be able to consider it, but...
Just asking.
Yeah, we normally like to keep people on asphalt or at least some really good compacted millings or something so they have a stable environment. And ideally, the traffic control will force them not to use the shoulder. And they'll have to learn how to behave for a while.
Oh dear, expectations.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move to approve project number 190013.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to item number 11, Madam Clerk.
Sahuarita Police Department Operation Stone Garden Participation Presentation and Discussion.
Thank you, and I think Chief Nolan, you will be providing an update regarding Operation Stone Garden.
Okay, we'll see if I can click on this without me losing my spot here. I apologize. I'm going to try to give a overview here. Operation Stone Garden is obviously a federal grant managed through the state of Arizona and different counties here within the state of Arizona. The grant allows the SPD and numerous other agencies to assist in Border Patrol's primary mission, its fight against cross-border crimes, violence, human trafficking, and illicit drugs. The Sahuarita Police Department has participated in Operation Stone Garden since approximately 2006. I may have the year off there, it might be 2007. We were pulling up numbers, documents as far back as we could find, but 2006, 2007. And that has helped the SPD in its mission of making the town of Sahuarita a safe place to live, work, and play. Additionally, through funds and equipment, meaning vehicles, computers, night vision equipment, ballistic vests, helmets, and much, much more, the SPD assists in combating cross-border crimes associated with violence, human trafficking, and drugs, and obviously in the trafficking of persons as well. We're located just 45 minutes north of the international border, as well as being the most southern Pima County municipality. Sahuarita is impacted by these crimes, whether we do something about it or we don't. And let me make this statement very clear, that not all people that cross the border illegally commit other crimes. Our participation in Operation Stone Garden allows us to maintain an effective working relationship with our federal partners who fight cross-border related crimes every day. The relationship is created and maintained by way of participation in Operation Stone Garden. We utilize some of the same radio frequencies, we talk the same language in most cases. It helps make our community safer. Operation Stone Garden has supplied hundreds of thousands of dollars over the time we have been involved in the program. Much of it to patrol overtime, and much of that patrol overtime in the town or within a 5 to 10 mile envelope of the town. I'll explain a little bit about our operational area here in a few minutes. While working Operation Stone Garden, officers sometimes enforce local and state laws, but also encounter those who have crossed the border illegally. When it is apparent that they have just crossed illegally, we have the federal agencies deal with these violations. They're the experts in this area. Our officers, while working Stone Garden or OPSG, or regular patrol assignments, have encountered those who enter the U.S. illegally when they trek, truck, hike, or travel through our jurisdiction. On a weekly basis, we have some get off trains and travel through and in and out of our town by different means. Some of these are violating solely immigration laws, and some violate immigration as well as local and state laws. Again, our officers enforce local and state laws, and when one only violates immigration law, our response is to alert Border Patrol, who deals with these violations on a regular basis. Additionally, Operation Stone Guard provides vehicles and equipment and allows us to work as a force multiplier. Some people use that and misunderstand that. That's why I want to talk about our enforcement area. Our officers primarily, or almost all the time, we have some officers sitting here in front of us today, work in a 5 to 10 mile envelope of the town limits of Sahuarita. That was established about 4 to 5 years ago when I arrived, before it was only in the town. But we have issues where a jurisdictional line means nothing to somebody that is committing either at the federal end a crime or the local state ARS code type of thing, a crime. So I don't want to draw a line on the roadway and say this side of the street is Green Valley and that side is Sahuarita, and we'll call the sheriff's office for everything in Green Valley, and vice versa, have the sheriff's office call us for everything in Sahuarita. We work with our federal partners as well as our local law enforcement partners very well, and it works to our benefit, both for their mission and ours. The area worked by FPD officers associated with Stone Garden is in that town limits, and I would say the vast majority of it are within the town limits. That's what I mean by a force multiplier. We have more officers visible, more officers seeing possible violations or addressing issues to help us address the issues we need to be addressing. Participation also helps us with assisting those who have crossed illegally, become lost, injured, or in need of rescue from the elements or persons who traffic them. I, as well as my officers, have personally come into contact with these folks where they are in such dire need of immediate contact with other people. If they're not, I truly believe much of the time we are actually saving their lives. I have personally stopped them in my neighborhood where their shirts, their blue jeans, their socks, their shoes are soaked. They're to the point they can't go anymore. They're staggering as they walk. Without contact, they could collapse, they could fall into a wash, etc. And this is one of the pluses of us being out there, being visible, and looking for this type of activity. And this is just like Border Patrol. They will run into some of the same types of issues. The Operation Stone Garden program has helped us be more visible. It's helped us address issues. It's helped us create and maintain good, positive working relationships with our federal and state partners, and has also provided us with, over the last, well, since approximately 2007, well over $1.5 million in either patrol time or vehicles. We have a number of vehicles that we utilize for Operation Stone Garden. They take sometimes a beating. They're going on and off road. And quite frankly, I would rather the Stone Garden vehicles take the beating than our patrol vehicles. They're built a little bit differently. They're typically a bigger, heavier truck. And so with that, it provides us that ability to have that type of mileage and that type of wear and tear put on the Stone Garden vehicles. It does help us become a safer community. We're simply more visible. We're out there more often, and it doesn't come directly from the general fund monies. So with that, I have a slide here that will come up with any questions, anything I may be able to answer for you.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thanks for thorough briefing. I appreciate it. Any questions? Karen? Yes.
Chief, thanks for putting that together. There's been a lot of misinformation put out recently, mainly from FEMA County. So I hope this helps clarify some of that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Chief Nolan, before I begin, I want to thank you and your officers here in front for the excellent job that you all do in protecting the town of Sahuarita. And I wanted to just say thank you very much for that. Do we have a dollar figure yet for how much is coming to Stone Garden this year, at least is proposed to come to Stone Garden this year?
We do not. They're in the process of working through those numbers now. I was having staff try to reach out today. I believe we're asking for the same or a small increase than what we did this last year. We ran out of Stone Garden money at the beginning of this month in December. I would like to have it utilized to where it works for all 12 months. There is a delay through the federal and state process that usually pushes it off by a month. That's one of the reasons why if we're starting it a month later, sometimes as late as March, but somehow instead of January, starting in February, that's why we would make a request for additional funding.
If the county commissioners again reject the money, how will that impact your operation?
Without that money, you will have thousands of hours of less patrol time in the town itself, but also in that envelope area. And that goes back to my comments earlier in regards to crime doesn't look at jurisdictional lines, hence the international border, and what sometimes the U.S. moves south and sometimes what Mexico moves north. It works both ways. And for them, that's a line, those people that do that type of crime on both sides of the border. So it would impact us negatively. There would be thousands of hours of patrol time that would not be filled. And I would say over half of that patrol time is within the town limits of Sahuarita.
Is any of this money spent south of the county line toward Nogales or the border?
We have on occasion been called down to assist them. We've also gone down there on training where Stone Garden funds are utilized. They've provided training. It may sound like a simple thing to understand how trains work and how to get on and off them, but we get folks that come in on trains frequently, how to properly search them, deal with them, and know when a train is moving and not to get hauled or pinned into them. So that's the area where occasionally there is money that we would spend into just south of the Santa Cruz line. If they're asking for help, I will always work my best to accomplish that, because I will be one of the first people asking for help when we get out of our resource ability. And that's been true of the Sheriff's Department, it's been true of PPD, it's been true of our federal partners.
Is any of this money spent in the city of Tucson, Marana, Oro Valley, or anywhere north, or is this money specifically for the southern part of Pima County?
It is the southern part, so our envelope stops short of the Tucson city limits.
So there's no impact in the city or in any of those environs at all with the use of this money?
There is no impact I'm aware of. All of our efforts typically stop right around Papago Road. They're on I-19 and then going over to B-19 off the Nogales Highway in the same rough area. We are not in the city of Tucson doing any actions.
If the total amount of money was, say, $2.5 million, how much of that would go to the sheriff and how much would come here? Your rough approximation.
I don't know how much would go to the Sheriff's Department. I have talked with Sheriff Napier in regards to this. His operational envelope is much larger. It includes the actual U.S.-Mexico border and a lot more desert and areas that you have to fly into and out of often. So those numbers I don't have. I'm always looking for somewhere in the area of $150,000 to $200,000 for operational expenses, minus, or not including vehicles, NBCs, the computers in cars, new ballistic vests. That's the plus of this. That's one of the pluses of this program. Is sometimes the money is geared towards equipment that we would not normally be able to afford, but it is vital safety equipment for the officers.
Since I also work within the non-incorporated community of Green Valley, I have talked with Sheriff Napier and others, and the concern that I have, should this money be turned down, is that there is no police force in Green Valley, period. It is the Sheriff's Department that handles it. And the refusal or return of the funds involved here is going to be a major impact to both the town and to Green Valley in terms of patrolling and after-hour situations. And I do want to make that clear, that this is the potential. I know it has yet to come up, but I do know the history, and I am hoping that we, at least in our community, understand the importance of what's going on here, no matter how the vote goes, that it is an important addition to our protections here in the southern part of the county. And I appreciate very much your report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to finish up with what Councilor Les just said. I'm glad that I live in a community that supports the this type of program that helps keep our community safe. In the 9+ years I've been on the council, our town has voted for it every time, I believe unanimously, because we understand the importance of it. So I appreciate town staff, for the police officers, and to my fellow council members that continue to support it.
And Chief, just to clarify, because when Councilmember Lusk, is there, and maybe Kelly might have to weigh in, maybe we don't know the answer, because they're the overseer of the money for the county, but would they still have the potential to pass through our portion to us while they still are debating their portion in the unincorporated area, or am I off?
I believe, I know this last year there was, and that may have been the timing on which the vote occurred. Much of the operation and operational budget was already underway, and much of it had been spent. With that, I am advised that there may be a way to use a conduit to have money go to other municipalities, as opposed to having a single vote or group of elected officials clearly determine something for the entire county and other municipalities. So I've spoken with Bill Seltzer from the Arizona Department of, I start to lose my acronym for Homeland Security, there we go. And he's aware of the vote and that occurred this last year, and all are in hope that it'll turn out differently. But there may very well be other options, but it may slow down operations until that option becomes fully available to other municipalities.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And maybe this is a question for Dan. Could we not pass a resolution sending a letter up to the county informing them of our unanimous, which is what I'm assuming, agreement for Stone Garden funds, and that this is not just them screwing around with stupidity.
I'll defer to our town attorney, because this was a presentation on the agenda. Dan, you want to weigh in on what we can say or not say tonight, do or not do tonight?
Yes, sir. It is listed as a presentation and not an action item, but even more so, since that action is not listed on the agenda, the public would not know, under the open meeting law, the public would not know that we were going to address that. But it could be done, just not at tonight's meeting.
Right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Would it have to be a vote and a resolution? Could we not direct staff to formulate a letter in support of, or? I mean,
Mr. Mayor, we can't even discuss it.
Right.
No.
Which we're doing now.
Sorry.
Okay. So one of the options we do have is, it was asked to be put on the agenda, for a presentation. So, I think the best we can do is have it be put back on the agenda. The only part might be our first meeting is January. I'm not sure how much this will or will not be resolved by then, but I think that's our only option, is to have a council member,
Just have the manager look at it.
have the manager look into it and potentially put it on as an agenda item.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Bill, but Mr. Mayor, I understand that the vote will probably be taken before that, but I don't know that for firm, but that has been the intention to a certain point.
Yes. Mr. Udall?
I just wanted to assure the council that I've heard your conversation.
Okay, I think that's good. Thank you, Mr. Udall. Any comments on the presentation part of this?
If members feel so strongly on this, are they not invited to individually write a letter as a citizen, but not as a council person to?
I think we always, yes, we would always have.
We could also write as council members.
Right,
As long as we're not
individually,
doing it
not representing the town.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Next, we move to item number 12, council, town manager, even says brief summary of, referring to that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me, and the council for allowing me to be the vice mayor for the last 2 years. I really enjoyed it. Kara, congratulations. I think what Gil said, that either candidate would have made a great vice mayor. I will tell you that Tom is a very hardworking mayor, and my job was very easy. I didn't have to do a whole lot, but I just wanted to say congratulations to both of you, and thank you for allowing me to sit in the seat for 4 years. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other reports?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sure, I thought Kelly might mention it, but we have an event coming up on Saturday. It's our light parade, what's the official title? Holiday-
Winter Festival.
Thank you. For those that don't know, this was something that I talked with Melissa Hinkle about for years ago. And so it's one of those things I'm very proud of because it was kind of our discussion and brainstorming that brought this wonderful event. When I said, let's do a light parade, she was kind of like, we're never going to make it down Sahuarita Road. We made it down Sahuarita on the second year that we did it. The first year was not a light parade, it was just an outdoor during the day. And so I'm so excited when it became an outdoor night light parade. And my service on the Southern Arizona Red Cross board, we were chatting about our outdoor parade in the cold December, and cold is a relative term, I know. But I was able to get you an American Red Cross blanket to keep you warm on the fire truck on Saturday night. And I hope that with it, Dan, you can come up for a picture in a second, because Dan Kavanaugh and I, myself, both serve on the board of the American Red Cross, and we want to say we appreciate the support the town of Sahuarita has had with the Red Cross. They do blood banks, they do, and the school does as well as La Posada and Quail Creek, and 1 pint of blood serves 7 people. And it's an essential area with all the disasters that have occurred, and many of the blood banks have not been able to continue because of disasters. It's absolutely essential. Many of our local residents in the Pima County are serving elsewhere in California, and some are still in Florida and still in North Carolina due to those hurricanes that so long lasting. Though they're not in the news any longer, there's still a lot of work being done on those 3 disaster areas. So, Mayor, we hope that you will stay warm with our American Red Cross blanket.
Well, thank you.
Can we get someone to donate a rocking chair for him as well?
Yeah. Well, since I will be riding with Santa, I'm going to be ignored anyway, so I might as well be warm while I'm riding on the fire truck.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Since this goes out to the world, I thought I should mention the fact, I know it's been in the Green Valley News, but not everybody sees it. JPAR and Community Water are in the process of getting ready to start construction on Pima Mine Road. They will start in January, and they intend to conclude around June of this coming year. And the construction will be the placement of the 36-inch water lines for FICO and for the JPAR and Community Water. So they will be basically coming down the side of the road, and it will be fairly heavy construction. As far as I know, there's no planned blockages other than there will be some delays at times. But that will be going on, and then once the process is completed and it will be working, by the way, they start at Nogales Highway and then go all the way and end at the casino. And the reason they're doing that is to benefit the casino traffic. So the construction will start at Nogales and go west. Once this is complete, then their intentions are to begin working on the section or the mileage placement down Nogales Highway, coming down to eventually the ponds that are going to be placed near the sewage treatment plant in Quail Creek. So that work will be starting sometime after June of this coming year. And again, the one thing we do not need to worry about is that when the new road was put in on Nogales, the curved section that is very popularly speed limited at 45 miles an hour, that road, the piping has already been installed under that road, under the road construction. So they will not need to disturb that new road. But this is going on, and it's a very significant advancement for Sahuarita and for FICO as well in terms of water conservation and other issues. So again, please know that will be starting.
Thank you. And maybe, Kelly, if you can make a note, just like we did for the La Posada intersection, when that starts to get rolling, maybe we can put that on as an agenda item, just as an update to communicate with the community. Thanks. Bill? No? Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I had the pleasure of going to the Shark Tank And it was so amazing because the local businesses were talking about how much they learned, even if they didn't win, from the whole process. And I was just so grateful for all of that. And of course, it was fantastic to see a family-owned business, a father and daughter that did win the event. So thank you for putting that on. Great event.
Yep.
Native Garden.
Native Garden.
Yeah, Native Garden.
Was the winner, and they turned the council chambers, the staff, thanks Kelly to the staff who put that together, into the Shark Tank. And Debbie Morales and Jack Nastasi, little Jack Nastasi was the shark mascot. So I think he was probably the hit of the day, the evening on there. And then Councilman Bruckman and myself had the pleasure of attending the SPD welcoming and promotion ceremony, which was a really nice event that was also here. And the thing that I always get a kick out of is when they do the PowerPoint presentations of the song selections. That's always really cool that they put the PowerPoint to. But then all the pictures on the journey on ones that have, come from the military over the years and then over to SPD or from the sheriff's office or from wherever it may, or second careers or second or third careers. So it's really inspiring and interesting to see the different varied backgrounds and especially the journey through the academy. I've noticed if you want a weight loss program, go to the academy. They all look a little thinner by the time they graduate, and the numbers don't look as big over the graduation days. And again, thank you to you for your service. And as much as this pains me, I don't think Gil Lusk could have said it any better on the selection for vice mayor. So congratulations, Kara, for the selection of vice mayor. And today's the last day of Hanukkah, and we're moving into Christmas season. So whatever you decide to celebrate or not, wish you a good, happy holiday season. And
Before you're completely done, I think I quickly jumped in so that I could be heard, and we didn't ask Mr. Udall.
yes, I will.
I didn't know.
Well, I figured if we
So,
talked
I
long
looked
enough
over
and
there
covered
and
most
I-
things, that maybe there's nothing left to be said.
I'm very sorry.
No, I will go back to him.
Okay.
And January 9th, 8th is our next meeting after the new year. And it was interesting, because we were talking about broadcasting the world.
Correction, that's January 14th.
Oh, 14th.
She knows her name.
I went to the calendar. So that's why we have a town clerk, keep me out of trouble. And I have the honor of having one of my daughters in the audience. She's going to be commissioned on Friday in the Air Force. But my other one, yeah. I don't know if she had a choice, but my other one, talking about broadcasting to the world, she's in New York City, and she got to see this whole meeting, all the way from New York City. So that's really cool, and I thank staff for making it available, not just for my daughter, but for others that can't be here this evening. And with that, Town Manager, did we leave anything out? I'm hoping not.
Well, I was going to make a report about the Winter Festival and such, but you've done such a wonderful job. I'm just going to leave it at that and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and end my report.
Yep, and we hope to see everybody out Saturday night, right out front. Thank you.
Merry Christmas all.
No more public meetings?